So my mom hired this babysitter to come stay the nights while she was out of town. And night one was fine. She came over, introduced herself. She was like 18. She was cool. She told me that she didn't really mind me staying up late, just go to bed early enough so I could get up for school, stuff like that. And it was pretty much perfect. Like, she was really cool. She pretty much just chilled in the living room watching Netflix, and I would just sit in my room and play Xbox. But then the last few days came around. It was the weekend, and that's when things kind of took a turn for the worst. So Friday night, my friend hits me up. He's like, yo, you should come over and spend the weekend here. I was like, all right, bet, I'll be there soon. So I walked out into the living room, and I was like, hey, do you think you could drive me to my friend's house? And she's like, yeah, of course. And then as she's grabbing her keys, she goes, hey, Austin? I was like, yeah. She goes, do you think your mom would be mad if I had some friends over? And I was like, no, I doubt it. Like, just ask her. And she's like, okay. And she texted my mom. My mom said it was fine. And in my head, I'm thinking, like, dude, she could literally throw a party and I wouldn't care. Like, as long as none of my stuff or my mom's stuff gets broken or stolen, I could care less. Like, this babysitter's been... So me and her get in the car. She drives me to my friend's house, drops me off, tells me to have fun. I was like, thanks, you too. And I go inside my friend's house. And another friend of mine was there as well. So I'm hanging out with them for a couple hours, and they both end up falling asleep super early. And I get pissed, because I'm like, all right, I'm not going to be tired for at least another 5 or 6 hours, because I'd been staying up really late. So I was like, all right, you know what, I'm just going to go home. So I text my babysitter. I'm like, hey, change of plans. Like, my friends fell asleep. I'm bored. Do you think you could come pick me up? And my babysitter didn't reply. So I wait like 30 minutes, and I text her again. She doesn't reply to that. So I'm like, all right, you know what, I'm going to call her. So I call her. She doesn't answer. So I wait like another 30, 45 minutes, and I call her again. She doesn't answer. And I'm like, damn, like, how am I supposed to get home? So I start texting a few of my older friends who are like 17, 18 and have their license. And I was like, yo, do you think you can come pick me up from my friend's house and drop me off home? Just like saying that to all of them. And my one friend replied, and he was like, yeah, I got you. I was like, all right, dope. Like, if you want to stay over, you can and hang out. And he's like, okay, dope. What's the address? So I give him my friend's address. He comes over. And right when we pull up to my house, I immediately notice a fuck ton of cars at my house. Like, the whole driveway is filled up with cars, and there's some in the street. There's probably like 8 or 9 cars. And I was like, wow, she really threw a party. And I'm thinking to myself, like, fuck yeah, something to do. Like, she'd been cool to me all week, so I want to be cool to her. But I didn't realize what I was walking into. So me and my friend walk in, and I immediately see my babysitter at the table drinking with everyone. And she sees me, and she's like, oh shit, Austin, what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, I came home early because my friend's house was boring. And she's like, shit, I'm sorry, I didn't have my phone with me. I was like, no, it's fine. This is my friend. And I introduced her to my friend. And I was like, all right, we're going to go in my room and chill. So me and my friend walked towards my room down the hallway. And I was kind of just like laughing because like she probably thought that I was mad because like I caught her having a party. But I didn't give a shit. I was actually kind of excited because it was something to do. And then I opened my bedroom door. What do you think was inside my room? Because I expected an empty room with none of my stuff messed with. But guess what? I walked in on 2 people. And you're probably like, how'd you know they were having sex? Because I walked in. The first thing I noticed was a pile of clothes that wasn't mine on the floor. And a guy and a girl in my bed under the covers. And the first thing the guy says when I walked in and saw them was, oh shit, sorry little dude. And I was just like, please don't call me little dude. And he stands up with the blanket over him and his girlfriend. And he's like, bro, like, my bad. Like, this is totally not cool. And I was like, it's fine. I'm going to walk out of here. You guys can get dressed. And by the way, do you know how to do laundry? And I pointed at him. And he's like, yeah, why? And I was like, because you're going to wash my sheets for me. Because you were just hooking up on my bed. And he's just like, oh, yeah, man, of course. Like, that's fine. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'll leave you to it. And he's like, wait, where's the laundry room? I'm like, it's right next to the living room. Just ask my babysitter. She knows. And he's like, okay, cool. So me and my friend turn around and we go to leave the room. And before we could even leave the room, my friend starts laughing his ass off. And I shut the door to let them change. And we're just in the hallway and my friend's laughing. And I'm just like lost for words. Okay, today's story time takes place in 2016, okay? One of my favorite years so far of my existence. And my friend was hosting this party in his backyard and in his house for his birthday and his graduation. It was like a dual party because his birthday and his graduation were like at the same time. So yeah, he invited a lot of people. Like, he put out ads on Craigslist, just like in the movie. He fucking posted all over his social media. He even had a radio station shout it out, one of the biggest radio stations in my city. And that's not to mention all the other people that were coming that were posting it all over their social media as well. So anyway, it was scheduled on a Friday night, and that Friday finally came along, and I got ready. I went with my friend, me and him pulled up, and when we get there was no joke, already 100 people in the backyard, not to mention all the people in the house. So there was a lot of people there already. Like, it was already one of the biggest parties I've ever been to ever. And I'm like, holy shit, this is crazy. And my friend's like, dude, there's got to be at least 100 to 150 people. We find my friend who was hosting the party. We say happy birthday. And yeah, we hang out inside for like 30 minutes. And fast forward like an hour later, literally double the people showed up. So it went from like 100 people to easily 200, maybe even more. I'm just estimating. And it was going really well. But sadly, things took a huge nosedive when I heard this girl scream from the roof, "I'm gonna jump in the pool!" And I see 3 girls on my friend's roof, just drunk and ready to jump off into the pool. Now, my friend owns one of the biggest houses I've ever seen, so it was a tall house. And that roof, like if you were to jump off it and you didn't land in the water, you could seriously hurt yourself or worse. Like these girls really could get hurt. So I'm worried. I'm like, yo, please don't let them actually jump off. Like, please tell me they're just joking. And literally 5 seconds later, one of them jumps and she lands in the pool. Thank fuck. And then 10 seconds later, another one jumps. Lands in the pool, barely. 5 seconds later, another one jumps, the third one. You want to guess what happened? She didn't land in the pool. Let's just call her Betty, okay? Betty, the last jumper. She jumped off the roof and just completely missed. She landed flat on her face in the grass. I actually thought she died. I was like, yo, there's no way she just like, what? And I ran over there with my friends to check on her. And she just springs up and she's like, I'm fine, I'm great. I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret. She was not fine, okay? Fast forward to the next day, she ended up going to the doctor and she fractured her wrist because she landed on it when she fell. She's lucky that she didn't fracture anything else because it definitely could have gone a lot worse. But yeah, she wasn't 100% okay, but much better than I thought. Anyway, fast forward. Like an hour later, this giant truck with a huge lift kit pulls up to the front door of my friend's house. I was inside with my friends, watching them play beer pong, and all of a sudden we hear a really loud knock on the door. And my friend walks up to the front door and opens it, and I see 2 police officers at the front door, as well as like 4 or 5 police cars parked in his front lawn, and they have their lights on. Just screams before they could say anything. He goes, "Cops, cops, cops!" And literally the entire house ran. They cleared out so fast into the backyard. And I ran with them because I'm like, yo, like everyone's running. I'm going to run with them. I don't want to like sit back. So I run out to the backyard with my friends. And we get to the backyard and everyone's screaming, "Police, police, 50, 50. And literally everyone's running into the woods because that's where my friend's house backed up to was a forest. I even heard a dog bark at one point. So I don't know if they had police dogs, but I heard a very angry dog in the woods. And me and my friends are just running full speed through this black abyss in the woods, and all I can see are flashlights like very far away and just faint yelling. And we thought that we escaped. We thought like nothing else could happen, and we're all just out of breath under this tree. It was me and 2 other friends. And before we could catch our breath, we hear someone screaming and coming towards us with a flashlight saying, "Get down, get down." And we ran probably for like 15 or 20 minutes straight after this, and we ended up in some random. And after like a couple hours of playing Xbox, my friend's like, yo, I want to play GTA with you, but I let my sister borrow it. Can you go in her room and grab it for me off the desk? And I was like, dude, fuck no. Like, your sister's sleeping. She doesn't even know me that well. Like, I don't want to knock on her door and wake her up. He's like, dude, trust me. If I do it, she'll get even more angry. And then she won't even give me the game, and we won't be able to play GTA. And at first I was like, nah, fuck that. But then I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? How bad could it be? Like, I want to play GTA too. So I thought about it for a minute and I decided like, okay, I'm going to do it because it's just a knock on the door, right? So I go out in the hallway, go up to her door, knock on it like 3 times. I hear her yell, "Hold on." And I hear the bed springs like being super loud, like someone was moving on the bed really quick. And I didn't really think anything of that. But a few moments later, the door opens and his sister's right there. And she has her hand covering like her chest and like she's just peeking out a little bit through the crack of the door. And I was like, hey, Jeff wanted me to grab GTA. And she's like, really? And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, he wants to play. And she's like, hold on. She shuts the door, and I'm just waiting there in the dark hallway. And like 2 minutes goes by, and I'm like, all right, what is she doing? And finally the door opens back up. This time the light's on, and she has like a big t-shirt on. And she hands me the game, and I notice in the background where her bed is, because I can see now, there's just a guy laying on her bed, like in his underwear, just staring at me. And I was like, who's your friend? And before she could even say anything or react, he just gets up and dives out the window. Like, the window was already open, he just dived out it. And I'm just like completely lost for words. I'm like, what the fuck was that? And she's like, that's my boyfriend. Can you please not tell my mom or Jeff about this? And I'm still just lost for words. I'm like, what? I wasn't going to, but like, why did he just dive out the window and run away like that? She's like, I'm not supposed to have boys in the house at night. And I'm just still confused because, first of all, she's like, I think 18 or 19. So she definitely legally is allowed to date and kind of live how she wants to live. So I was confused by like how strict the rules were. And also just the